On today's episode, we're going to talk all about working through adversity. Today's guest, a former professional skier, now very successful real estate agent, at one point was given the unfortunate diagnosis of Lyme's disease. Yet she's continued to push through that. Today's topic is going to be all about how you can work through adversity, regardless of the situation. You're going to learn principles today that are going to help you to work through whatever adversity is yours. Stay with us. It's going to be a great episode. The question is this: how do those of us in the real estate industry with crazy amounts of ambition, how do we think bigger than the building of our own empires? How do we simultaneously seek success and significance, income and impact? My name is Justin Stoddard, and this is the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. Welcome back, everybody. Right over my shoulder, you see the TB. For those that are new to the show, that stands for Think Bigger. I'm always honored to be bringing people onto the show that think bigger than I do. It's rubbing off on me. It's having an impact upon me. And I would hope that you tuning into this show, it's having the same impact upon you. I'm excited to introduce today's guest. Her name is Athena Brownson. She is out of the Denver, Colorado market. Athena, it's such a pleasure to have you here today.
Justin, the pleasure is all mine. And I completely agree with you. Think bigger. Iron sharpens iron. We're all here to help each other be the best that we can possibly be and to build up our toolkits and how we face the best of times and the worst of times. Because like you said, we all have our own forms of adversity. And really it comes down to how we're going to approach adversity and how we're going to pivot when things don't necessarily go to plan.
That's so well said. I mean, what an inspirational kickoff, right? Is that, in fact, you shared this with me prior, is that no one's adversity is greater than another's. It seems hard to fathom that, but I do think that we all have adversity that shows up in different forms. For some people, I would even argue, who it looks as if they have no adversity. I believe that can be the adversity, is the fact that it's actually very difficult to grow in any situation where you don't have some adversity. You, as a professional skier who trained on the site of Mount Hood, which I could see out my window on a clear day.
That's so cool.
I know a little bit about, I'm sure that the challenges and struggles that you went through getting to that level, being a professional skier. How did that prepare you for what you're going through now?
Yeah. I look back at my professional skiing career and I can say without a doubt that not only did it prepare me with the tools necessary to be an entrepreneur and be, disciplined and accountable enough to create my own business and thrive, but it also gave me the tools that I needed to really learn grit. And I don't think grit is something you really are able to learn until you're going through it. And when I say going through it, that can be you're going through a really tough real estate market. You're going through a divorce. You're going through family issues. You're going through health issues like myself. One's adversity is not greater than another, but it really comes down to what are the tools that we can go to that we have innately learned that are going to propel us to take challenge and turn it into the best moments of our life. Because when you're in the midst of adversity and when you're getting your butt kicked, like I literally just had a rib removed 3-4 days ago. I'm miserable, but I know that I have my toolkit, and that's when skiing comes into play. I blew 9 ACLs and I would do all the rehab, get my knee better, and get right back on snow. And there was no lip that could be given to my coach. They didn't want to hear it. They wanted you to show up as your best and be committed to being better every single day. So I always say skiing was the best business school I ever could have gone to. It's also the best life school I could have ever gone to, because the reality is, as much as we would like to have a fairy tale life where everything goes to plan, nothing will ever go to plan. Like, we can have a very good idea of where we would like to go. And I think that's absolutely critical. Like, I think, visualizing and having those tools and understanding of what you want out of your life is critical. But even more so is the ability to pivot when things are not going to plan. So what are you doing when the market isn't great and it's a lot harder to sell a property? What are you doing to bring value to your clients' lives during very difficult times economically, both nationally and globally? What are you doing to really give back to others? Because I'm a firm believer that you get what you give. And if you can focus outward during your adversity, by the time you get through it, you will not even have realized that, hey, I'm through it. It's more like, I can't believe I just did that. I've learned so much. I'm in such a better position. I know that things are not going to stay great because, as one of my great coaches said, you're either always in a storm, going out of a storm, or going into a storm. So life is just full of storms. It's just a matter of what tools we equip ourselves with to survive them. And that can be things that you learned as an athlete or as a child, whatever it may be. But these are also tools that you can learn no matter what age you are. This is not rocket science. It is finding your go-tos, finding your why, understanding your motivations, so that when you don't want to get out of bed in the morning because you just got a rib removed or you feel like crap or whatever the case may be, you know that you have your toolkit of, okay, I'm going to blast music. I'm going to put makeup on so that I feel more human. I'm going to make some phone calls and I'm going to smile while I'm doing it. Like, what are the things that while in the midst of adversity, I can do to at least I'm a big Atomic Habits fan, the book. So
So
what
good.
can I do every day to be 1% better? And I think in challenging times, it's so easy to just kind of take your foot off the gas and not, kind of feel sorry for yourself and not do much. And my goal is, when things are at their most challenging, how can I use that opportunity, the lowest point that I'm in, the biggest, struggle mentally, where my brain is telling me you should just take a nap and, stop. Like, our brains will give up way longer than they can. Like, we can go and go and go and we can push through things. So really understanding that when you're in the midst of adversity, these are the times that are going to form you into the person that you want to be. And if you can lean into that, be 1% better every single day, by the time you get to the other side, you're going to have gained so much, not just professionally in terms of your skill set, but as a human being. Like, I truly, I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but I can say with 100% certainty that I would not be the person that I am today had I not experienced and continue to experience hardship every single day for the last 7.5 years. Like, the things I've learned about myself and the tools and the grit and the resiliency that have come with it, I wouldn't have learned elsewise. So I'm honestly grateful, as much as it stinks.
Athena, you just dropped so many bombs of wisdom right there that I think every generation needs to hear and take note. A couple of things that really stand out to me. I'm reminded of one of my mentors who's since passed. His name was Gordon B. Hinckley. And he talked about how life is like a railroad ride. And oftentimes there's highs, there's lows, there's all kinds of kind of soot and dust and tunnels and no view. Occasionally there's a beautiful view. And anybody who goes through their life saying that they've been cheated because they didn't get a beautiful view the entire time is missing the whole point, right?
Yeah,
is that those views
so
are
true.
magnificent and wonderful because there's fewer of them, right? We actually
Yeah.
appreciate them more. And, your concept about grit, I think if there's one skill that definitely can never be learned inside of a textbook, it's grit. You're right. You have to go through difficult things in order to get there. And what a mature perspective you have, to be able to say,
Thank
and I'm
you.
grateful for it. And I'm grateful for it. Right. I mean, that's just a whole new, it's one thing to put up with it, right. And keep going. It's another thing to be like, man, I'm grateful for that, because I would not have learned that. Like, that is just beautiful. Honestly, you're a beautiful soul because of the way that you are embracing this type of adversity.
And I don't want to, paint a picture that every day I wake up and like everything's perfect, but I have my days, but I do believe that if you can't find the silver lining in whatever it is you're going through, you're going to continue to spiral downward. So I think mental toughness has been at the forefront of my studies, my beliefs, everything I do, because if I'm not mentally tough, the rest doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
mean, I could give up really easily.
Let me ask you, obviously you were dealt a pretty heavy blow, right? Chronic disease, Lyme's disease. How did that impact your perspective on your real estate career? And like, what steps did you take to navigate through the challenges that presented? I mean, I know it can be debilitating.
Yeah.
What kind of walk us through that?
I feel very fortunate in the means that I have a career that as corny as it may be, I love real estate. I absolutely wouldn't trade it for anything. I love being a part of people's lives through buying and selling. That's the biggest thing that they do in their lives. And I have created a business over the last 10 years that is primarily sphere and referral based, and that I'm very comfortable sharing my struggles with my health challenges.
Mm,
So it's not something that I try and hide away. It's something that I'm very open and honest with, because if you're my client, you know that every 3 weeks I'm going to be getting plasma transfusions for 4 days in a row.
mm,
Well, what other career would allow me the opportunity to even take 4 half days every 3 weeks to go get my plasma transfusions while still being able to make money on my computer? I I can't think of one. Real estate has afforded me the opportunity to have something to keep me motivated, to keep me accountable, disciplined, and looking forward. And I think a lot of times when we're going through adversity, it's really challenging to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like we kind of want to throw in the towel because it's exhausting, and we
yeah.
haven't encountered this before. But I was at the top of my real estate game when I got diagnosed with Lyme disease. And I thought that, I had just come off a great professional skiing career. It completely blindsided me. And it took me a long time to really come to terms with how the severity of what I was dealing with. And I definitely went through periods of mourning and of grief and you know, everything that you should when you're encountering a chronic illness or adversity. But I think the most important thing I took from that is to not get stuck in that place. Don't get stuck in the mud. When you're
Mm,
going through it, it's okay to have those feelings. It's okay to mourn, it's okay to grieve, it's okay to go through whatever your body needs to do in order to move to the next level. Because if you don't, you get stuck in the mud. I'm a firm believer that if your mental state isn't good, it's not going to do anything to help your physical health. So, really allowing myself that opportunity, but then taking a step back and realizing that for a sick person, like I have it made. I have a job I love. I have clients I love. I have the best team possible. And I have the flexibility necessary to get the treatments that I need to stay alive. So, that is my silver lining, honestly. And although my life looks a lot different, I can't wait to see what the future holds, because if I can survive this, woo, watch out, world.
Yeah, that's again, I'm just in awe of your perspective, and I think everybody may not be suffering severe health challenges, right? But
Yeah,
I agree with kind
I
of what
hope
you,
not.
yeah, same. And I think from your perspective, we can all extract that there will be challenges. As you said, life is a series of storms. And I believe by divine design to help us to
Yeah,
become more than how we got here. Right. And
I
so
agree.
I think as we look at it through that perspective of like, okay, this isn't happening to me, this is happening for me. And we genuinely believe that, and we're
Mhm.
we're grateful for it, even amidst it being distinctly uncomfortable and inconvenient and all of that. I'd love to have you've already shared, but if there's any other insights you have around how people can take the principles that you've learned,
Yeah.
Of whatever their storm may be, you put whatever, like
Yeah.
insert storm here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That should be my book. Insert storm here.
here's
Because
what
it's
I've
true.
learned.
Yeah,
Yeah, we all get it.
honestly, what I speak of is not things that I have learned from people with chronic illness. I mean,
Mm,
there's very little out there that comes from a very positive place in terms of chronic illness that has helped me to build myself up and lift myself up. Instead, I have kind of gone back to my skiing days in terms of, okay, what are the things in my life that bring me joy? Even in the midst of, the worst days of my life. Like, what are those go-tos that I have that no matter what kind of mood, no matter how bad I feel, no matter if I'm in the hospital, like, what are the things that get you through your worst days? And for me, that means listening to music really loud in the morning and
mm,
putting on makeup like it's war paint and almost putting on like my face of I don't care how bad I feel, but I'm going to get it together and I'm going to go conquer the day. Who are the people in your life that you know that you can lean on and actually lean on them? I think so often it's really easy to say, I've got great support, I've got this, but at the end of the day, if you're not reaching out to someone and saying, hey, I'm really struggling in this area, and whether you're asking for just an ear to listen to, a shoulder to cry on, advice, whatever it may be, like when you're going through adversity, the first thing you want to do is isolate, and it's the last thing you should do. So find the people in your life, and I learned the hard way through getting sick that my tribe, the people that I could count on, was a lot smaller than I thought it was. And at the time I thought that was, another heartbreak, but in hindsight, it was the most beautiful thing that I could have ever asked for, because it really shows you who the people are in your life that you can count on. And I find it's going to be different for everyone, but it's really easy to go through your day and look at, even if you're doing a time study, what are the activities that fill up my cup? What are the things that I'm doing by myself that maybe no one sees? Maybe I'm dancing in my underwear to my favorite song or playing with my puppies. Like, what are those things that are going to bring a smile to your face? Because once you start that, smiling's contagious. It really is. And when you're dealing with adversity, it's not, I think it gets overwhelming when you're trying to solve the problem all at once. And the for me, if there was an answer on if you do A, B, and C, you're going to get better, it would have been done 7 years ago. But there's no answer of when I'm going to get better, if I'm going to get better. I mean, mentally, I have absolutely no doubt, but there's no clear answer on any of this, because quite honestly, I have a very strange set of ailments that have caused my body, Lyme disease caused my body to attack itself. So I'm constantly under attack by my own antibodies. And a lot of that is very isolating. I can't express to anyone what that feels like, what that looks like. But what I can do is know who I am as a person, what makes me happy, what makes me feel fulfilled, what, how I should allocate my energy, and make it through one day at a time. It doesn't have to be this big, oh, there goes my mic. Sorry about that. It doesn't have to be this grand, if I do this, everything's going to be better, because that's not real. My advice to everyone out there going through whatever challenges you face, whether it's just something that comes up for one day or something that's coming up for years, is to understand that your goal should not necessarily be that I'm going to have all of this fixed by this amount of time and I think that's not realistic and it's very overwhelming. So if we can break it down into, sure, this is where I want to get, this is where I want to be. For me, I want my health back. Now, what action steps can I take backwards on a daily basis to just be 1% better every day? Or if I can be, slightly better, or how am I going to reflect that's going to allow me to be the best version of myself every single day? And those days add up. And when those days add up, all of a sudden you're going to be looking around and recognize that you have grown so much as a person. And that's all you can ask for. Adversity, it's going to come. What can we learn from it? Because if we're not learning from it, then it's fruitless.
One of my favorite quotes: life is a grindstone. Whether it grinds you down or polishes you up depends upon what you're made of. And I believe that we all are made of something great. We just have to recognize that and choose to allow it to polish us as opposed to grind us down. Athena, it's been such a joy to have you on the show. I can't wait to have you back. If you'll accept this early invitation to have you come back.
Thank you.
There's so much wisdom that we can gain from you. And I'm honored at you being on the show and helping us in so many ways know how to think bigger, because it's easy to think bigger when times are good. It's when times are challenging and difficult that real big thinking is put to the test. Can we actually see around the corner, be able to see that things are going to get better, and I'm going to be incredibly better because of this adversity? And I think you've totally helped us do that today. So thank you again so much for your time. And we will be in touch, my friend. And to everybody listening here. Yeah, me too. And my final request of everybody listening here today, they are these 3 simple words, and they are: go think bigger. Thanks for helping us do that today, my friend. Talk soon.
Anytime. Thank you.
Value in anything that you heard here today, do me a favor and just take a quick screenshot of this episode. Tag me in it on social media. That will give you the heads up to create more content like this in future episodes. Also, if you are wanting to build your wealth advisory team in less than 30 days that gives you 2 to 4 professional referrals every month, go to proinsight.com, and or you